The A-Mill complex buildings, which include the National Historic Landmark A-Mill building, the South Mill Cleaning House, Warehouse 1, which we now call the South Mill, and the red tile elevator were actually built at 3 separate times. The A-Mill building was done first in 1881. Red tile elevator was built next in about 1912, I think it is, and the South Mill Cleaning House and Warehouse 1 followed some decade or two later. It was the first flour mill designed by an architect, although not by an engineer. The engineering had to happen later, to when the things started to fall down within a few years. And it was the largest flour mill in the world by production volume. It set records for how many barrels of flour it could produce in a day, with shifts working almost continuously. This was when Minneapolis was right at the top of the pile when it came to flour production.
Right. Who was the architect?
Leroy Buffington was the architect, and he designed a very handsome Platteville limestone building with the limestone quarried from the riverbanks just in front, about where the park is today. I mentioned the engineering. The famous buttresses on the back of the building, as well as the building's distinctive sag in 2 different directions in the front, started almost immediately. We like to tease architects we work with that, well, here was the first building designed by an architect, and sure enough, it started to fall over right away. It was due to 2 things. One was the amazing vibration and weight that the milling equipment had, and it was going constantly. The other is that the Platteville limestone distinctively expands and contracts with water in summer and winter. So the building was trying to move up and down, side to side, at the same time as the machinery was making that happen. So the reinforcing was necessary, and that happened soon after the turn of the century.
When was the famous Pillsbury's Best Flour sign built and installed?
Excellent question. I think it was in the 30s or 40s. I'm not exactly sure of the date. It was installed originally in a different configuration. It had an alternating flashing signal, so it would say Pillsbury's Best Flour as it does now, and then that would turn off, and at the same time on would come a flour bag that said XXX. We've got a photograph of that. So one would flash on, the other would flash off. Otherwise it's the same sign. It's in this location with the same color otherwise ever since. We have an agreement with General Mills to maintain it, and we're working with them to let that go.
Because this, I suppose, is officially a trademark by them.
It's a trademark that either General Mills or Pillsbury had to let go as part of their consolidation. So it's actually now owned by some other flour company.